Welcome back to yet another video of the custom DIY 6.5 gallon long tank. In this video I'm going to cover some of the hardware changes I decided to do. First is the auto top off. I bought this little dinky thing from Temu. While I think it should work properly, it doesn't work in my setup. It probably works more in a regular tank with a trim that the water line is about an inch from the trim. Since my tank is rimless, the water line is usually about a quarter of an inch from the top of the glass. Because of that and how the device sits on top of the glass, it doesn't really work. It doesn't do anything. So I decided to make a DIY auto top off float switch, which once the float switch goes down to a certain level, it activates the circuit and a pump pumps in water, and when it goes up, it stops. This way it's just a much better and also better looking auto top off. As for the heater, this is a nightmare because where the tank is located and it's winter time now in Canada, this room gets really cold. There's no HVAC. So I tried a few heaters and none of them can keep it at the 23 degrees that I want. I tried the current one in there is 100 watts. And then I stupidly tried a 10 watt one and the temperature went to 13 degrees Celsius, which is crazy. I don't think anything died. I tried another 100 watt one and that also cannot get 23 Celsius no matter what I do. Then I bought this AQAA one. It's a mini one, and this one I was actually able to get it up to 23, and I always use a heater controller for redundancy reasons. I decided to add a CO2 drop checker, a modern style, which you add to the rim of your tank, which it sits outside. I made my own 2 DKH solution, which should turn lime green when it detects at least 15 parts per million of CO2, unlike the usual 30 parts per million solution you would usually get. I did this test at the end of the day, but I think I need a few more days to decide if it actually is working or not. As you can see, there's no more bubbles coming out of the bubble counter because it is the end of the day and my CO2 turns off at this time. Next up is the light change. This one I was very hesitant about doing because right now the tank is doing fine. The plants are growing well. There's no like weird algae that's usually affected by too much light. This is an old school light. It's a T5 high output and it's using dual bulbs at 24 watts each, so 48 watts total, which is a lot of light. So I hang it pretty high up, as high as I can possibly hang actually. I believe it's at least, I want to say maybe 14-16 inches from the top of the tank. But the thing is, I feel that due to the stem plants in the back, I can probably get better coloration. Same for the buces that's attached to the rocks. I think I can get more glow and more iridescence from some of the leaves of the buces. So I decided to change it up and try something new. After much deliberation, I decided on the Neo-Helios XP800. Just look how thin the casing is. It's also not made out of cheap plastic, it's made out of thin aluminum, and thin aluminum is better than cheap plastic. I was really going back and forth between this light, where there's not really a lot of information out there, versus the popular kind of lights from Amazon, which is the Higer series. While I already have a Higer 48 inch for my 30 gallon breeder, which is only 36 inches, it is fine build quality wise. It's also a thin aluminum casing, but power wise though, it's not that powerful. And I do have some red plants in there, even though it's not a planted tank. It's for my red cherry balloon platies. Even the coloration of the red of the fish, it doesn't look that good. It looks washed out with the Higer. And the red plants I do have in there, also it doesn't look that good. And some plants I throw in there, which are not too hard to grow, the Higer lights just won't grow it. So I decided to go for the Neo-Helios instead. Now I'm going to show you an easy math formula where you can determine if the LED is actually powerful enough to grow the plants you want. And basically you take the watts that's advertised for the light. For example, this Hydra at 30 inches is advertised as 26 watts, and you divide it by the amount of LEDs that it's advertised at, which is 130, and you get 0.2 watts per LED or diode. Now at 0.2 is okay, it's decent. It will grow your basic plants. It might even grow some medium easy plants, but it's not that much watts per diode. A better one would be a 0.25 to 0.30. That would be more of a decent light. But for this one, it is what it is. It's 0.2, which is one of the main decisions why I decided not to get this light. Also, when it comes to these advertised watts, some of them can be overly inflated. I have purchased cheap Chinese lights from Amazon before, which is advertised, for example, as 18 watts, and I plugged it into my wattometer, which is a device that shows you how much power draw something electrical uses, and it was only drawing like 6 watts from 18, so that it is what it is. Price wise, it's about 70 bucks Canadian. With taxes, it's probably around 80 bucks, 85 bucks, somewhere around there. So it's a budget brand and it's not too badly priced. However, with that being said, the Neo-Helios I bought on AliExpress was only $53 USD. I bought it during a sale, and I think I used some coupons. So when you do the exchange rate, it comes out to pretty much the same price, maybe a few dollars cheaper. And if you look at the specs, it's the same length, 80 centimeters, which is 30 inches, and it's 46 watts though, instead of the 26 watts that the Hydra is advertised at. And it has 100 LEDs, and if you do the math, it's 0.46 per diode, which gets you pretty much to highlight territory. Now, what I determine highlight, medium light, it really depends. When you get close to 1 watt per diode, that's near high-end lights, which usually costs around, in the upwards of 300 Canadian dollars, at least, and upwards. Like my Neo-Helios light was about $500, so that's a high-end light, and that's about 1 watt per LED. This one is 0.46, which is pretty much highlight, maybe on the lower end of highlight, and it should grow everything I need it to grow. Now this LED has no adjustments for brightness or the intensity of brightness. It's just on and off. I have it plugged into a smart meter so I can schedule the time, and the smart meter tells me how much watts it's drawing, and it's drawing around 37 watts, so it's not that far from the advertised 46 watts. I'm pretty sure I tested the Hydra as well, and it was close to what is advertised, or within at least maybe 5 to 7 watts. But as you can see, color wise, I can already see a definite improvement. It's not a huge one because it is grown with the T5 high output lights in the first place, but I definitely see a better coloration of the red plants and some iridescence from the leaves of the buses. Only time will tell if the growth rate wise is better than T5 high output. I'm pretty sure it is, because at 40.46 watts per diode, it is in the lower high light territory, so it should grow the plants a lot faster than the T5 high output. However, I'm also not sure about the height of the light yet, so I put it on the highest spot. I might move it down, but if I start getting algae or anything like that on the glass, then I'm gonna probably move it up little by little. Now I wanted to do a baseline, so that's why I decided to do a trim of the stem plants that has reached the water level, just to get an idea of how fast this light, the Neo-Helios, will grow the Rotella plants versus the old Coral Life T5 high output fixture. There isn't a lot of space behind the rocks, so I was planning to replant the plants in a bunch of threes stems, but it looked like I actually had enough space for now, at least. Probably not for the next time. I decided to do a water change on this tank. This is actually the first time, or should I say first time I'm doing a water change with fresh water. Usually I use old tank water from my other tanks water changes. That way I find for new tanks you kind of avoid the situation where you're gonna get diaphragm algae or brown algae from new tanks. This tank's been running for at least a month and a half, I think, maybe longer, I can't remember, and I don't have a speck of brown algae, and that's because I use all old tank water where there's not silicates that can cause brown algae. So that's about for the end of this video. For the next one, you know how it is. You upgrade one thing, you're probably tempted to upgrade more stuff. So next video is probably more upgrades. Thanks for watching.